Hello ladies and gents, Mike Vonbeardingham here, and this is my video on how to hear yourself better when you are singing live. One of the main problems for being a singer and singing in a live environment is being able to hear yourself. Now this can range from problems with bad monitoring, a sound man who doesn't know what he's doing, a band who are just way too loud. So what I'm hoping to do in this video is talk you through some of the setups that I use which enable me to hear myself really clearly when I'm on stage and are also effective in different gig scenarios. So not only playing with my own band, but also playing with other people's bands if I'm a stand-in musician for the night. Whatever environment that I am in control of my sound, and therefore I can tweak it to exactly how I like. And I don't have to worry about sound men affecting my sound, the volume of the band affecting my sound too much. I can eliminate all of those things and set my own sound and sing nice and comfortably. So I'm going to share this knowledge with you now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the setup that I use in my band and work our way down to less intricate setups, maybe some more cheaper setups, so that hopefully there's an option in there for all you guys out there, whether you have the money to buy decent equipment or whether you're a bit limited on what you can spend. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with my full band setup. With my full band setup, we do use quite a lot of equipment, but the outcome is well worth it. So as a band, if you can all contribute to getting, say, like a better mixer that allows you for different monitor mixes and everything, that can be really beneficial. So what I use is, our main mixer is a Behringer X-Air XR18. Now this mixer is one of those sort of fairly new wave of mixers. They've been around for a little while, but the ones that are Wi-Fi controlled. So what you get is basically a stage box that you can plug everything into, and then all of your levels and monitoring and outputs and inputs are all controlled by Wi-Fi. And what this allows you to do is every member of the band can then do their own monitor mix, which is an absolute godsend. And it has changed the way that my band do their own sound, do their own monitoring. When everybody can control their own mixes, everyone is going to play better, everyone is going to be more comfortable, everyone is going to be happier. So that's the main thing, is having that mixer that allows you to do all this. Also, I use a Line 6 XD V75 microphone. It's a really lovely microphone with multiple presets, so I can change the sound. It simulates different microphones, so the SM58, it'll simulate all sorts of different things depending on the sound you want. As it's wireless, there's no cables, so therefore you can run around, be silly, do whatever you want. It's great. The pedal that I tend to use when I'm singing live is a TC-HELICON Voicelive 3. Now, it is a very big, heavy-duty pedal, and I don't use a fraction of what this pedal can do. But the output options on it are extremely handy and useful. So not only are the sounds really good, and there's so many different parameters that you can change and tweak to get the sound you want, there are also multiple options for sending outputs out to front of house, to monitoring. It makes life a hell of a lot easier. I use in-ear systems. I use the LD Systems MEI 1000 Generation 2s. They are really good. I've never really had any problems with them. I've got several sets now, several actual transmitters. I've used them for years and they've never really let me down. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. So again, the great thing about having in-ears is you can block as much of the band out as you can. You've got that complete freedom of movement to walk around the stage, go wherever you like, and your sound is always going to be in here. The actual in-ears I use are Shure SE215s. These are kind of considering what they do and the quality of the sound, I think they're really good value for money. And I'll talk about all the prices of all these things later on for you. But I find that the isolation is fairly good depending on your ear canals and depending on which buds you use. You'll get different effects, but for me it's not too bad. If I've got a very loud band, I might have to take them up a bit just for it to cut through, but in general I've used them for years as well and I've had no problems with them, and the sound quality, as I say, is pretty good. Okay, so that's the gear we use. Now I'm going to talk through how I set it up and how I get the results I like. The reason I use a setup like this will become clear later on, but so this is strictly just for how I use it in my own band. So I've got a lot more control in my own band. We're using certain gear. I can tailor this to get exactly what I want. So this is just for me personally, and later on we'll talk about other variations that will work, say, in a more stand-in sort of random environment. Okay, so the first thing I do is I connect my vocal mic straight into my pedal. The reason for doing this is I like to have just a direct line in there, so there's no tweaking on desks, there's no nothing, there's no extra outputs, etc, etc. It just goes straight from microphone into the pedal. From the pedal, I have my left and my right going straight out into my mixer desk. So I've got a left and a right channel in the mixer desk. Those channels are panned left and right, so I get stereo vocals. This is really handy for me because if I'm using certain delays, maybe where I want like bouncing effects and things like that, it works really, really well. Now, from the pedal, obviously we've got a left and a right going out to the mixer desk. So from there, I have an auxiliary. So for those of you who don't know what a lot of this is, I'll talk about it for you. An auxiliary is basically where you can control the amount of signal from all the channels on the desks that go out to another source. So say for what I do is I plug my auxiliary port into my in-ears. So whatever amount of signal I send from each channel into that auxiliary, I will get a mix going out through that channel into my headphones. So basically that is my monitor mix. So from my auxiliary on the desk into my in-ears. That way, say I can send however much signal, I can have as much guitar, as much backing track, as much drums as I like, and I can mix that all separately, just for me personally, without affecting the front of house mix. So obviously with my in-ears, I've got my in-ears set up and my radio pack and everything. So I think that's all the elements that go in there. And as you can see from the diagram that I'm putting up, I'm showing you how it's all linked in. So the pros of having this kind of setup is purely for the fact that if the whole band are running into the mixer desk, so I've got my vocals going in, we've got guitar, we've got drums, we've got bass, we use backing tracks and things like that as well. With the entire band going into that desk, and then I have my auxiliary going into my in-ears, that means I can give myself an exact mix of what I like in my headphones from my iPad. So I haven't got to ask a sound man to go, excuse me, can I have a bit more of this, a bit more of that? All of that shenanigans which can just cause an absolute ball ache, I don't have to worry about. I'm singing away, if the guitar's too loud, I just quickly drop it down on my iPad, job done. I haven't got to signal to the sound man, it's a bit effing loud, can you drop it? And then he does the wrong thing and nearly blows my eardrums out. This way I've got complete 100% control, and it makes the biggest difference to your singing you can imagine. And the reason for being able to hear yourself clearly is so that you don't push yourself too hard, you can pace yourself, especially if you've got your effects from your pedal going into the desk. You can actually hear what your effects sound like as well. So if you want to crank in more reverb, more delay, you will hear that actually in your in-ears as well, because of your sound is being added before it goes into the desk. So generally, I don't have any effects on the desk on my vocals. I do all my effects on my pedal, so I can hear them in real time when I get my monitor mix back. Now, you don't have to use in-ears. You can use a monitor. You can run from the auxiliary out on the desk into a monitor. So that way you've got the same thing, but obviously your monitor is there rather than using in-ears. Whatever works for you. But this is the way that I have the setup in my band. The next setup is what I call my, my stand-in setup. So say, for example, I'm going to stand in with a band. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. It's the first time I've ever played with this band. I want to make sure that I've got enough things to be able to hear what I need to hear and to be able to sing decently. So what I do is I use my Behringer XR desk again. Now, you don't have to have one of these desks. I just find them really, really handy because I've got the options for Wi-Fi control. So in the next video, the next section, I will run through using a different desk so that for those of you who can't afford one of these Wi-Fi desks. But for now, we're going to use the same desk. What I do this time is I have, say, my microphone. Again, I use my wireless microphone when I'm using this kind of stuff. So I've got it all set in a unit that has my wireless mic, it has my in-ears, it has the mixer as well. So I keep it all together so I can just nice and easily plug between everything. So what I do is I have my microphone, again, going into my pedal, so a direct line in. Then what I do is I split my left and right from the pedal to going, one channel goes into my desk purely for monitoring purposes and the other channel goes in to their front of house. Now this does mean that you're not going to get that stereo effect, but to be honest, for most of us it's not really going to be too much of a problem. And if I'm standing in with a band, I'm probably not going to use as many effects and things anyway. So in my case, I send the left channel out to their desk so they can do whatever they want with that sound. They've got all my effects and everything still from the pedal, but they can do the volumes and everything, and whatever I do at my end is not going to affect them. And I take the right output from my pedal into my desk. And then I apply the same thing as before. So I use the volume on the auxiliary going out to my in-ears so I can control my volume on my desk and it doesn't affect anything else apart from what I hear. Now, the difference that I do is because obviously I'm in a new band scenario and I don't want to rely on them giving me a monitor feed from their desk where they're going to be tweaking it and playing around with it. So the main thing that I need when I'm singing is just some guitar to sing along to. Now, depending on what is comfortable for you, you may want to set up, what I do is I set up a microphone next to the guitar cab so that I've got something that I can pitch to when I'm singing. That's all I generally need, because generally you'll find you will get some bleed from the rest of the band, from the drum kit, you'll get a bit of the bass frequencies coming through anyway. But depending on your situation, you might want to have, say, some vocals from their desk as well. So you can always take a line from their desk, plug it into your mixer as well, and then you can still control the overall mix that they send out on one fader. So if they send you a mix of like about 3 different vocals and maybe some other stuff as well, you can just drop or raise the whole master volume of that on your desk with just one line out. So that can help for things like listening to harmonies and stuff like that. But generally for me, I will just run a microphone. I'll put my own microphone in front of their guitar cab and run a cable into my mixer desk so that therefore I can control that guitar volume and I can control my vocal volume. Now, depending on the kind of microphone you want to use, you might want to use more of a sort of a ambient microphone so that you get a bit of the drum kit as well. You can position it in different places on the stage, whatever you like to get the sound you want, because all you're doing is picking up something for reference to sing to. So that is what I do for my stand-in setup if I'm sessioning for a band. So this setup number 3 is, we're dropping down the quality of the equipment we're using here, so it's getting a little bit cheaper. We're still using a vocal effects pedal to get a left and right split and to use our effects that we want to use. But we're going to take out using the Wi-Fi mixer and we're just going to use a normal, small, portable mixer, just your general, volumes, probably a 2 or 3 channel, nothing exciting, just something really, really basic. So what we're going to do, and we're also going to take out the wireless microphone. So we're going to start off with just a normal handheld microphone, whatever you generally use. We're going to cable that directly into the pedal. Now remember, the difference is here, rather than going from our receiver unit on our wireless into the pedal like we did on the other ones, we are going just directly, handheld mic, straight in to the pedal. So the lead is going to go basically down to your feet in the pedal. From there, we're going to take our left-right output split again, So our left is going to the front of house mixer, our right is going into our little mixer desk. Now, from the mixer desk, hopefully we've got a couple of channels that we can work with. So again, I would mic up a guitar, just have another microphone kicking around, somewhere that works for me, going into that desk as well. So we've got vocals and guitar as well. If you want to take a line out from their desk, by all means do, if you've got the channel capacity to do so. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to presume that we're not using in-ears here. So say we can't afford in-ears, but we can afford a monitor, for example. So we are going to take an output from our desk. So this will be the master output, because this little desk is controlling just what we hear. So we can just use the master out for this. So out of the master, we are going to go from there into the monitor. Now what you may have to do, because generally all desks are stereo out and the monitor is probably going to be mono, you want to pan all your tracks to one side. Now you can either use the master out like this, or if your desk has an auxiliary, again like the other desk, you can run it all through the auxiliary, which is a mono signal anyway, and take that out into your monitor. So again, you've got full control, but some really small desks don't always have a very good auxiliary. So you can use the master out. Just use the left channel on the master out, which sometimes works as a mono, so you may not have to pan it anyway, but you can pan it to the left just to be safe if it doesn't work in mono. I know this sounds all very confusing, but it all depends on the kind of desk you are using. So remember, stereo is your left and right, mono is just a single left or right signal. So from there, using this small setup, you will have to sort of lean down and move faders and things to get your levels that you want, or you can have a little music stand with the little mix with the mixer sitting on there, just sort of there for you, and that way you can control it via that means. So it's a nice, cheap, effective way of doing it. Setup 4 is going to be our cheapest possible option. Now you can eliminate certain bits of it depending on your budget or how of ease of use, but we are taking away our vocal pedal, we've taken away sort of in-ear monitoring, all that kind of stuff. We are down to the bare bones. So what we're going to need here is our microphone, an XLR splitter, and a little mixer desk, and a monitor. So whether you can use the monitors they have here, I would suggest getting your own monitor, bringing it with you, because then you can do your own levels, etc. on that monitor. Now, the way we're going to work this is we're going to have our handheld microphone, we're going to cable that into our XLR splitter. Now what that does is basically what it sounds like. We're going to split our signal, our vocal signal, into two. So we will take one cable off the split into our front of house mix for them to do the magic of what they wish, and the other side will go into our mixer. Now, depending whether you've got the money, you can still mic up a guitar, etc. if you want, so that you've got some guitar coming back in your foldback, or you can just rely on the sound of the band behind you. Entirely up to you. Some people like to have a bit more control than just their own vocal. And again, from the desk, we are going straight into our monitor, either via the auxiliary or the master out, either way. So if you really break this down to its bare bones, the only thing you are going to be affecting is your vocal level. And that might be all you need. And that is the most cheap way that you can do this. So you give yourself completely independent control with your voice level, but there's no kind of added extras or being able to hear like decent effects or anything like that. You're just going to hear your raw, pure voice, but you will have volume control. Okay, so those are 4 different options for you. I hope some of them have been helpful. So when it comes to this kind of thing, being a singer, the more you can spend on getting a better sound, not only a better quality sound in your microphone, but also a better quality sound in your monitoring and everything and in your effects, all of that will not only help you as a singer when it comes to the songs and the vocal performance you deliver, but also with being at ease with the sound that you're getting in your ears and with pacing yourself and singing in a much more comfortable environment, because being a singer is all about comfort and being able to hear the mix you want to hear that makes you sing your best. So I'm sorry if this has been a lot of information all at once. Say with the illustrations I've put up, hopefully that's going to help sort of show you how all this is linked together. But if anyone has got any questions, by all means, just ask and I will do my absolute best to answer them. So thanks very much, everybody. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe if you wish. I appreciate any support you guys can give. So thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Happy singing.